Hello, Namaskar, welcome, Swagatam. You are with the Versatile Doctor. My name is Dr. Abhinav Atul, an author, a YouTuber, and a TLB member. Today is the day we talk all about covers. And this is a topic so important, to do it justice, I will have to split it in more than one episode. So today is the day technically we start talking about covers. To tell you the truth, we have been talking about a book cover ever since episode 1. But be that as it may, anyone who actually believes that one shouldn't judge a book by its cover, well, this video is not for you. The truth is, if you are in a bookstore, the first thing you see of a book is its cover. It is important not only to leave the first impression, but also it is the quintessential part of your book's presentation that will prompt your prospective readers to make the decisions of buying or not buying your book. The landscape has changed quite a bit with Kindle. I must address that. On a Kindle, the cover of your book will not only be black and white, but actually a low resolution, low contrast shadow of the cover, which you may have spent hours creating or thousands getting professionally designed. Still, at least for the foreseeable future, physical books are the primary medium for book reading, and even the e-book readers are developing color screens for the readers to have the pleasure of enjoying the cover too. So the cover is still the most important part of the presentation of a book, and when I say presentation, check out episode 4 to see what exactly the presentation includes. So to the main topic, the book cover. We will talk about it in 3 aspects: the matter which is printed on the cover, the physical cover, and the digital cover. I think it should be obvious, but let me just spell it out for anybody who might not know this. A book is not printed in the same shape and size as we see while we hold it in our hands. The pages are printed separately in large sheets, each sheet typically containing dozens of print pages. Then the sheets are cut, layered, and bound to make the interior of the book. On the other hand, the cover has a different paper, more colors, higher resolution, and more importantly, lesser volume. So they are printed with different printers, folded and cut according to size, and then bound with the interior of the book. It will help to keep this in mind as we discuss the matter of the cover, which will be very different than the discussion we will have about the page layout, the formatting of the interior of the book, which we have discussed in details in episode 6. Moving on. Typically, there are 3 sections of your book cover: the front, the back, and the spine. Now, if there is a hardcover variant of your book, you may have a sleeve, which is basically an extension of the front and back covers. So some hardcovers are printed like this with a blank cover, and then there is the sleeve, which will have again a front, a spine, a back, as well as the extension of the front and the back. Then comes the newer update, duplex cover. With the advent of advanced digital printing, it is now possible to print on both sides of a cover, which gives you more real estate for your colorful matter. And what can you use this additional space for? Well, anything from a map to an author bio, or a full page photo of the author, or an author's note like this. So it goes without saying, this is additional color printing, which means additional cost. The publisher will give the option of sleeve printing or duplex printing at one of their higher tier packages only, but more on that later. So let's start with size. Of course, the size of your book cover will be the same size as the size of your book. And what is that? Books do come in several different sizes, and I'm not talking just about the volume or the number of pages. At first glance, it may so appear that there is no rule or reason for so many different book sizes. But if you go into the minutiae of publishing, you will understand why each size came into existence, why some book sizes are preferred over the others, and how it all ties up into your decision of choosing a size for your book. You all know that the most commonly used printer paper is A4 size, right? But A4 became the standard size fairly recently through the International Organization of Standardization, or ISO. And why A4? Well, if you join two A4 size papers, you get A3 paper. And if you fold a A4 size paper into half, you get A5, and so on. So the underlying principle was standardization, and to make sure that every country used the same size of paper cutters, same size of stationery like binders, folders, punches, and everything. And if you go deep into the story of book sizes, you will see the similar trend. Because as I said earlier, pages are printed in large sheets of paper and later cut in size. It stands to reason that the most of the printing presses will be optimized to work with the paper sizes which give the least amount of wastage while cutting, right? So that gives us some of the standard sizes like 5.5 inch by 6.5 inch. Now, why is that one of the most widely used book sizes? Because that is exactly half of the commonly used letter size paper. Other common sizes go all the way from 5 by 8 to 6 by 9. But usually, non-fiction books are larger. You remember the textbooks you used to read in schools and colleges? They are much larger in size, right? Part of the reason is diagrams and illustrations, and part of the reason is the content. Like if there are several numbered or bulleted points, having a longer page size will give you better page setup. And then there is the author's own choice. Like some authors might go for a very unusual page size just so that their book stands out in any bookshelf, or maybe something that they personally prefer being in their hand rather than the norm for that genre. But overall, it is a balance between economics and aesthetics. If your book is very large, like 150,000 words or something, like Dan Brown's Inferno, you might want to have a larger book size instead of having a thicker book which may be too uncomfortable to hold. Now, so far I have spoken only about two dimensions, the length and the breadth of the book, which will define your front and back cover matters, right? But we can't forget the book spine, can we?
I'll open your books at page 49.
Exactly how do we do that?
We'll just stroke the spine, of course. Goodness me.
The thing is, many self-publishers, including Notion Press, won't let you customize the spine print, which means you can't have a cover design that organically flows from the front to the back of the cover. The reason for that is the spine dimension depends on the thickness of the book. 1 millimeter this way or that will ruin the whole alignment of the cover. Remember, the book covers are printed like this as a whole and then glued onto the book interior. But that is not so difficult. Amazon KDP gives you excellent guides on the size of the book covers, including the spine. And that is a template that most people use. So if you want your cover design to blend from the front cover to the back cover, you have to get this cleared with your publisher in advance. Now, the thickness of the book, just for context, depends on both the number of pages and the type of paper used. So your typical printer paper is usually 75 GSM. Most standard white papers that the print-on-demand presses use are 90 to 100 GSM, which means a heavier paper. There is a yellow, more premium, high-quality paper, but that is lighter, like 70 to 80 GSM. Just think about it. What makes a book like this, 470 pages, hardbound with 9.5 to 6 inch size, visibly thicker in volume, and still it is lighter than this 500 page, 8.5 to 5.5 inch book? That is because of the book leaf paper. It is much commonly used by traditional publishers because it is expensive. Why? Because it uses a different wood pulp and has got more processing like acid-free treatment to ensure the longevity of the paper and other chemical treatments for better ink hold. And of course, a yellowish color, an off-white color that will not reflect that much light and hence will not be as harsh on the eyes. Wait! Didn't we discuss in episode 2 that the self-published books generally tend to be more expensive than the traditionally published books? And now I am telling you that the lighter yellowish paper that Penguin, Random House and such publishers use is more expensive than the pristine white paper that Notion Press uses? Well, yes, that is how the economics of scale works. While Notion Press might sell 100 copies of your book, Penguin will literally sell 10,000 copies of their books. But that is neither here nor there. So we talked about the cover dimensions. Regardless of whether you publish on KDP or not, you can use the cover calculator tool from KDP, which will give you exact measurements for your book cover design with margins and bleed areas. And you can also download a PDF template, which you can use to design the book cover on Photoshop or Canva or anywhere. So we discussed what goes on your cover, like title, subtitle, an achievement badge, blurb and author bio and everything. So make sure to check those out. What remains is the matter your publisher puts in, like the ISBN, the barcode, the MRP, the publisher logo and so on. But the biggest thing, however, is the design, the illustration or photo or the graphic that could mesmerize your readers before they even read the first word of the first chapter of your book. And that topic we shall cover in the next episode. Don't be disheartened. I don't want these episodes getting longer and longer. YouTube does not promote longer videos, and in fact, longer videos do have lesser retention. Anyway, until next episode, you can keep asking your questions on the book covers, everything that we discussed and everything you think I might have missed. Let me know. Of course, TLB, the Digital City, has a team of graphic designers who can create a lovely cover for the book of your dreams. Do check out the catalog of our services on the website www.tlbcity.com, and if you haven't already, come on, join TLB, the Digital City. Don't forget to forward this video to anyone who is a reader or an author. Like this video if you liked it, and stay tuned to the YouTube channel for more contents like this. This is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off. Namaskar. And don't forget, there is an announcement coming up which I am repeating for the last 3 weeks. Have you self-published your fiction novel in any genre in English in the last 5 years? Then send me a copy of your book. I'll use the books that you, my fellow indie authors, send me for market research and analysis of the ground reality of self-publishing in India. Check out the link in that video description to show interest.